Welcome in, everybody. We're going to check the status of this celestite that we started last night. Since it is such a soft rock, I'm going to check it today. I'm going to check one of these barrels. Probably just check this middle barrel. See how it looks. If it looks like it's rounded off good enough, we'll move it on to the next stage. But right now, let me get everything set up and we'll check this barrel. Okay, here's our barrel of celestite we're going to check in on that we started last night. Since it is soft, they recommend you check it daily. So this is a 24 hours or close a day of running 120, 220 grit with some ceramic media in it. Check and see how it looks. I said last night when I set it up, it is really soft, so we'll see how it come out. Alright, it tumbled fast. Look at that. Didn't take much to break that down for sure. I think I'm going to go ahead and clean the other two barrels out and move it on to the polish stage. These are just some test pieces to see how it looks. We'll just keep moving on with the three barrels and see. That was a day of tumbling. So this is what it looked like yesterday when we put it in. Just the rough celestite. After one day, it's rounded off really good. Still got some spots that could probably use another day, but if I go another day, I'm afraid it'll be hardly nothing. Alright, let me get the rest of them cleaned out and we'll load them back up and go to a polish stage with them. Or we'll go to the next stage, 500 aluminum oxide. I'm going to go ahead and get these other two barrels of celestite emptied out and we'll look at them. Get everything cleaned up real good so I can distribute it out. They may have lost enough volume I could go to two barrels with them. I don't know. We'll just have to look and see. The 12220 did a pretty good job on it just for one day of tumbling, so going to 500 next, so it probably won't break down as fast, so it may take longer than a day for that. We'll check one barrel tomorrow though and see how it looks. And now we're just going to get them dumped out here and cleaned off. When you're moving stages here, in the end, my goal is to have a dedicated barrel for each stage. But since I'm just playing with these while my other stages are going through on my other rocks, I have to make sure you clean it out really good. I'll keep this media right here dedicated for my 120-220 grit, and I'll put fresh media in these other ones for the polish. So as you can see, they round it off really nice. So that's the before and then the after. One day of polishing in 120-220 silicone carbide. So let me get them cleaned up here, get everything cleaned up, and I'll turn you back on when I'm ready to load the barrels. Okay, I got everything cleaned up. This is our rock that tumbled for 24 hours in 120-220 silicone carbide. Just for comparison, I laid out here 3 pounds of rough is what I started with yesterday, so you can see the comparison. We're going to throw it on a scale here and see how much weight we lost just from one day of tumbling. £2, 5.8 ounces. So we lost over 10 ounces just from one day of tumbling, because this is really soft material. So I'm just going to lay out this comparison, let you guys look at it before we load these in. So I'm actually going to be able to go just to 2 barrels. What we had here. Went ahead and marked the barrels, even though these are not stage 3 and 4 yet. But when I get to that point, we're going to have it ready. Good way. Make sure I get the right weight in each one. That's how close the barrels are to each other. No, 9 ounces, that ain't bad. So I need 1.2, 1 pound, 2.5 ounces per barrel. See the difference in the two? 2 ounces, so we're good. That's close enough. So moving on to the stage to 500 grit aluminum oxide here. And put the fresh media in it. And give it a lot of cushioning because they are soft. Go with a tablespoon of the grit of the polish here, whole barrel. We'll check these tomorrow, or check one of them tomorrow, just to see how the 500 is doing on it. This one is a stage 4 barrel. This is stage 3. Put water just up to the level there. So these barrels get wore in better. I'm just going to use a little bit of oil to help slide this top on them. Makes it easier to slide down on there all the way. Go ahead and get them loaded on the tumbler. That was a stage 4. Here's the stage 3. Go ahead and get it turned on. So we'll check back in on one of these tomorrow and see how it's doing with the 500 grit. I'm gonna look and see what I got. I'll go ahead and load something in stage 5, that stage 5 barrel, and get it started just to see, just to do some testing. Okay, since I checked my celestite after one day and it had lost 10 ounces, so I went from 3 barrels to 2 barrels with it. So I decided to take this 3rd barrel for machine 2. I went through my tree agate here and picked out some pieces to go ahead and start it. So this tumbler is running at 35 RPM, so it's running slower than the other one. Machine number 1 is running 45. So I'm just going to get these started. Real quick, I want to show you. This is the HP Lapidary, Highland Park Lapidary 1.5 pound barrels. But when you start with these larger rocks, you're not going to be able to get 1.5 pounds in there. So show you what 1.5 pounds of these larger rocks look like in this 1.5 pound barrel. So that's 1.5 pounds of rock. So you just got to understand that when you buy this, even though it is a 1.5 pound barrel, it's not 1.5 pounds of these larger rocks. If you had smaller rocks, smaller pieces, you could probably fit 1.5 pounds in there. But we'll go ahead and dump this back out. We'll see how much of this larger rock we can get in there. And I don't want to leave those 2 pieces. I want to fill it up about 3/4 of the way full. I'm going to do the 60-90 on this. This will run for a week. I'll go ahead and run this a week at this slower RPM, and then check it on next Saturday when I move everything over in stages and see where it's at. Get some of these darker pieces, some of these lighter pieces in there that are really veiny. See if I can get 1 pound in it. That's just a little over 1 pound. We'll see how that does. Larger piece, put some small. That one's got a lot of druzy on it though. I may save that piece. Just polish the back side and leave the druzy there. Keep in mind that you're going to have less than 1.5 pounds when you're using the larger size rocks like I have here. Since I've got a pound, I'm only going to use a tablespoon of the 69 is what I got, what I'm using now. I said earlier, this is labeled stage 5. This is not. This is would be considered stage 1A with these. But until I get anything ready for stage 5, I'm just going to use this barrel to just play around with it, test some stuff out. And I want to do is see how the slower RPM does on these tree agates for a week. What I didn't show on the camera is it's been a week since I've been running, so I went ahead and put a drop of my 3-in-1 oil on the bearings on my tumbler. So they sent me a link to the manual the other day, and I saw it, and they recommend to put a drop every week, so that's what I did. Pretty tight. We'll drop this on the tumbler. We'll check it in a week. Thanks for watching.